I often remember the conversations that I would have with Kim about what would happen. I asked her one day, I said, Kim, I said, if you left it before me, as I said, I don't know what I would do without you. She said, yes, you would do. I said, no, I don't. She said, yes, you do, Stephanie. It's like, I want she said, you will keep going because I want you to keep going and I want you to keep moving forward, right? I don't want you to, be crying over me or nothing like that. He's like, I want you to keep going. So I'm glad we
Now,
had those conversations. So.
I'm glad you guys had it too. The thing about it though is that everybody says that, right?
Mm-hmm,
Everybody's like, because I talked to Snug about it, like if something
mm-hmm,
happens to me, and hopefully it will happen to me prior to it happening to her or any of my downline, right?
mm-hmm,
So I'll tell her like, I don't want you to do this, but that doesn't change the fact that you're gonna cry and be sad because it
yeah,
is a loss. It's a great loss when you lose a person um, that has been with you all your life. So I get it. I lost my sister. My sister is 5 years my senior,
mm-hmm,
and she was everything to me. Um, and we weren't close because we've never kind of lived in the same place, even as kids.
okay,
But we shared the same mom and the same dad, and that's the only sibling that I do that with.
mm-hmm,
And it was, I lost Michi in 2022, August.
yeah,
And when I tell you it hurts, Steph, it hurts.
mm-hmm,
I lost my mom in 2019 and my stepdad in 2020. But when I
mm-hmm,
lost Demetrius, I felt like nothing could be as painful as that.
yeah,
And then I lost my sister. And when I tell you that was the most pain. Now, I'm not sure if it was the most pain because I had already lost Michi,
mm-hmm,
but I was at a point where it could all be over. That's how bad
mm-hmm,
it was. It was terrible. It was terrible.
yeah,
So, and I watched her in a hospital go from somewhat vibrant all the way to just a little bitty person that couldn't do anything for herself. And that was heartbreaking as well. But to go in a car behind your sister and to watch life leave her body, that's
mm-hmm,
a lot to deal with. I can
mm-hmm,
most definitely, sincerely understand how you would be very depressed in a very, very dark place because that's just not what we expect to happen. But the thing
mm-hmm,
about it is, it does happen. Death happens. And that's
mm-hmm,
why we have this podcast, is to help us understand that it happens and we continue to move forward because
yes,
one day we're going to leave here. How it's going to happen, we don't know. But what we
yeah,
can guarantee is it will happen.
mm-hmm,
So with Kim, I mean, I was aware of what took place, but I wasn't aware of how you may have been doing. I didn't think that far to say, is Stephanie okay? But today, because of what has happened in my life, I can better sit back and say, okay, we need to do some things for this particular person, or we need to help this particular person, or I need to be calling this particular person because you can't get through it by yourself. You have to
Mhm.
get some help. You have
Yeah.
to have somebody there that cares enough about you to keep an eye on you and to make
Mhm.
sure that you're getting through the stages and then you get back to living.
Mhm.
So I am so proud of you. I really am. I'm proud of that you continue forward and you got your degree. I'm proud that you're living life. And even though sometimes days may be difficult, and they will be, God
Mhm.
never said it was going to be easy. But what He did say is that I will be there.
Yeah.
So we just trust that and we believe that. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that you're okay because sometimes we don't look at it. Sometimes we're just in our own situation of what's going on with us. You know what I'm saying? And how we're navigating through the grief and what it was to me. And we don't take the time to really look at other people and see what they're going through. Now, you also lost your other sister, Rachel.
Mhm.
And you don't have to go into what happened to Rachel. It's not necessary. But you lost Rachel. Tell us about when you lost Rachel and tell us about Rachel per se. And then also tell us about how did you find out and how did you feel at that time?
Oh, well, I lost Rachel in December of 26, excuse me, yeah, 2016. And it's crazy because
Yes.
like, yeah, it was December 2016, right? On the
Mm-hmm.
27th, right? Which was her son's birthday, Cameron. And not only that, my daddy's oldest brother, he passed away 2 days prior. So it was crazy. It was just like a blur. So when I got the call about Rachel, I was in total shock. Now Rachel is one of my older sisters. She's fun. She's a diva, but she has that sparkly personality where like she can get sassy real quick with you. But
Mm-hmm.
she's really sweet. She's very smart. She has a lot of good common sense, and Rachel really did, when I look back on it, like she was my protector when I was growing up, and also somebody who taught me a lot of street smarts too. And I really appreciate that for her. And she also she worked as a medical assistant, right? Rachel passed away on her uh, what appeared to be a a typical day for me because I was at the YMCA working out. I had just finished my workout. I was in the women's locker room, right? And my sister calls me, right? And tells me, Lydia calls me, matter of fact, and I'm in the changing my clothes. I answer the phone and she tells me that Rachel passed. It was like a shock. I mean, I had Nia with me at times. She was young, very much smaller than what she is now, and which is my daughter. And I just started bawling out crying. I was like, no, what happened? What happened? And I was just, yeah, it wasn't a good moment at all because I wish I would have been at home. But, I got through it. And then, my nephew, he was murdered. I want to believe in August is a bad month for me because he got murdered in August of 2021, right? Yeah, I do believe. Yeah. So not so I lost Kim in August. I lost Cameron, who was my oldest nephew
It
in
was
August.
2020. It might have been 2020
Might have been 2020. You might have been right. Yep. It just
because
seems
it
like
wasn't that close to me, G. Yeah, it wasn't that close.
yeah, so it's
It might have
August
been.
2020. Yep. Sometimes I have to look it up because the years just keep turning, girl. But
Girl,
as you get older. But yeah, Cameron was he was like a son to me because I was there when he was like born. I'm not physically in the hospital, but I've helped typically with his mom, watch him help him change diapers and everything, and
and
he was to have him taken at such I mean, he didn't even make it to 30. Cameron was 28 years old, maybe, I think, right?
yeah,
28, 20, yeah. And it's sad because my nephew had 6 kids, 5 boys and 1 girl, and they'll never get to see their father anymore, right? And I think
right.
I grieve for them more than I grieve for myself because, like, I was my oldest niece, Adriana, we call her Dre. She was the one that told me about Cameron, And I just felt like it was a wound being opened all over again when they
Hmm.
had grief, because, but the statistics say that, older adults experience a lot of grief more than younger adults, and that 2.5 million people in the US annually are going to experience some sort of grief, right? And it's also estimated that about 5 million children experience grief in the US, which if we look at it, that's just unbelievable, right? To see how people eh, experience grief. But in the Black community, we experience grief a little bit differently, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't like to always acknowledge our own stages of grief that we might be going through, or we don't want to talk to anybody about grief, right? Or what that looks like.
And let
But
me say this, Stephanie.
mhm,
Let me pitch in there a little bit. Not only do we not want to talk about our own grief, we don't want
mhm,
to hear about nobody else's.
that
Like
part.
if you going through grief and you go to out to dinner with your girlfriends and you start to talk about your loss, they all look at you like, what are you talking about that? That ain't what we want to talk
Mhm,
about. And what they don't understand though is that you you need to talk about it. Like if you're willing to talk
mhm,
about it, then talk.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'll let you talk all day. Like I understand it. I've never been a person though that didn't want to talk about it with you. But now that I
Mhm.
have my own grief, it's like I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I get why you
Yeah.
want to talk about it. And it's okay to talk about it. It's okay.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, even after like talking to that therapist after Kim immediately died, throughout my life, I've had a therapist because it has helped me. Because for the longest time, I didn't want to drive in the rain because it happened on a day when it was not raining hard when Kim died, but it was sprinkling outside, right? So it was light rain. So I would have PTSD, right, where I didn't want to get behind the wheel and drive a car. So it took a lot of therapy for me, and also just talking to my doctor and stuff about my own like things that I was dealing with, right, as it relates to Kim's death, right, over the years, to move
So
beyond the that those stages of grief and finally accept that she's gone and she's not coming back, and I have to move on. Yeah.
So, Stephanie, with all of this happening, two sisters and a nephew, with all of this, so when you lost Kim, it was, oh my God, like this is number one, this is the biggest thing. So, when you lost Rachel, did you better understand the process? Were you able better to continue to be more yourself instead of getting into that real deep grief or loss, or did you still get into it?
I felt I still did because like I felt like I was not as in a bad place where I was with Kim, but Rachel's death was unexpected, right? Because she was still
Mhm.
young. Rachel was 45. Kim was 42. Okay, these are
Mhm.
not older people. Like they're, I mean, they're
Yeah,
in their mid 40s, like early 40s. Kim was, right? Like these are young people who are passing away. So it was unexpected because I didn't expect her to die so young, right? I
right,
expected her to live. Both of my sisters, I expected them to die at an older age versus a younger age. So
right.
when I look back at the pictures of me at Rachel's repast, like you could tell, like I just
Out of
drained
it.
from the funeral, right? Because I had helped
Mhm.
Lydia with picking out some stuff and going to see the funeral director and stuff like that. Whereas Kim's, I had to help her husband pick out Kim's casket, pick out her outfit, her makeup, you know, and then help him with funeral arrangements, right? So you can only imagine by the time and he had like 2 days of a wake and then a burial, then a funeral and a repast. So after all that, I had nothing else to give anybody.
Right. You was drained. Yeah, you were done.
But I
Wow.
I learned from this experience is that we can't expect people to get over grief, right? And that's what I
Mhm.
learned through therapy is that you have to allow yourself to grieve. You have to allow yourself to cry. I mean, there are going to be moments when, like for me, after Kim died, there were moments where I went into like a store that me and her went into, and like tears would be coming down my eyes because I had a memory would pop up, right? It was just something
Mhm.
that we did together, right? And I had to really learn that it was okay to allow myself to experience those emotions, right? You have to
Yeah.
allow yourself to experience those grief and loss emotions because otherwise you're holding it in and it'll get trapped and you're not allowing yourself to heal.
So when you say allowing yourself to heal, what does that dissect that for me? So I'm dealing with grief, and how do I allow myself to heal? Do I allow myself to heal just by kind of going through it easy? But it's not easy, right? So you have these crying spells, you have this depression, you have this sadness. Uh, for me, I
Mm-hmm.
can go and lay in my bed and I'm happy about laying in my bed, right? That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite places. But then I'll lay in my bed and I will cry, cry, cry to the point that I cannot
Mm-hmm.
stop, right? So for me, I don't like to cry because when I started, it's very difficult for me to come out of it. Like I have to
Yeah.
really like either fall asleep or something like that because it's just so sad to me and the thoughts just keep coming, you know what I'm saying, the thoughts, this
Mm-hmm.
thought and this time and this, remember that, and why did he have to be this way and why is he gone and I want him here, just all this different stuff just
Mm-hmm.
compacts my brain, and it's like I can't stop crying. So I try not to cry because I know that it's going to take me into like this whirlwind, right? So when you
Mm-hmm.
say try to allow yourself to heal, what does that mean to you when you say that? When a person is allowing their self to heal, what actually are they doing, if anything, if you can explain it?
So I think for me, the way that one of my therapists, the one that helped me get out of my deep, dark depression, he was like, if you need to like talk to your dead loved ones when you're in the shower and the shower's on, you go ahead and do it. If you need to cry, go ahead and just let it out, right? And if you need to be angry, it's okay to get angry, right? Allow yourself to
Okay.
experience that anger. But
Okay.
and mhm,
So I'm gonna just say this real quick. So allowing yourself really means to allow yourself to go through the emotions that
mhm,
come forward in you, to
mhm,
allow them to have their presence, and then that'll help you to be able to better allow
mhm,
yourself to grieve. It's because those are yeah, I get it. Okay.
mhm. Yeah, staying in the present. It's kind of like mindfulness. It's like staying in the present, and but allowing yourself to acknowledge that you experienced something that was very traumatic, right? You experienced
Right.
something that most people don't go through, right? So it's okay to cry. It's okay to sometimes not want to get out of bed, but don't get stuck there, right? It's okay to be angry because this person isn't here anymore. But you got to still figure out, okay, I need to keep moving. You got to figure out how I got to keep moving forward, right? Um,
Right.
but I just feel like for me, I had a lot of crying spells, right? I had a lot of angry
Mhm.
moments. I had a lot of times when I was depressed about things, right? Because but I had to allow myself to not be numb about that. That's what I mean, and allowing myself to actually feel what that grief and those emotions felt like to in order for me to keep taking one step at a time and moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And I understand it. Sometimes, we don't understand until we have to go through it. And some
Mm-hmm.
of these losses, even a lot of them on my podcast, I would pray or hope that people didn't have to go through these things. But the reality of it is that we do. And
Mm-hmm.
so We have to better learn to navigate through it and not get so. I mean, I know we're going to be sad, but my thing is like, what can you do about it? You know what I'm saying? What can you do about it? So for me, there's nothing I can do but try to be the best Rachel
Mm-hmm.
and to keep their memory alive. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And think about the good things. But outside, I can't bring them back.
Yeah.
And reality says we want them to come back. We say, hey, I want them back.
Mm-hmm.
But you really don't. You really
Yeah.
don't want them back. Because if they came back, we would be so like, are they coming back as they were? Or because when you ask for stuff, you gotta come correct with it because it'll come back
Yeah.
any kind of way. You
True.
know what I'm saying? You got to be like really clear, like, okay, what is it that I'm asking for? And are we ready if they could come back? You know what I'm saying? Because even when I'm just gonna bring this up, my grandmother, I love my grandmother. I have two. Well, most people have two. So I have my mom's mom and I have my dad's. And when I tell you, excuse me, in that area, God bless me. Because my dad's mom was like the feisty, but very caring and loving. And my mom's
Mm-hmm.
mom was humble and very loving. And I
Mm-hmm.
lost them within like 6 months apart.
Oh, wow.
So my dad's mom passed first. And when
Mm-hmm.
she passed, I was just like, okay, this is a lot. This is my granny. This is a lot, but I'm strong and I can deal with it. And I'm gonna just go in here and do what I have to do and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6 months later, my mom passed. And when I tell you, I mourned for both of them for a long time. Like it was like everything had came back. Like I couldn't even
Mm-hmm.
forget, just like I couldn't let my first grandmother go because it was like I had just lost both of them at the same time. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And when I went to the burial, I have
Mm-hmm.
seen this happen before. I have seen it, and when I tell you, like them people and did something wrong, why I don't know why they doing that. I don't know why they acting like
Oh,
that
wow.
when they can't walk. When I went to my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother's funeral, my mom's mom, I could not walk.
I've heard of the
I
things happening like that. Yeah.
I could not walk, and it God allowed me to see that it's real because
Oh,
you can't do it. I could not walk. I stood behind a tree and cried.
mm-hmm.
And nobody really knows this but my spouse because he stayed back there with me. But you know how you get up to the car, get out the car to go to it? Yeah, I couldn't even make it over there. So
Oh,
the grief thing is a lot. And sometimes your body reflects that. You know what I'm saying? It's not always just sometimes your body can break down and you see people broke down over the casket and you'd be like, why are they doing that? They're doing that because that's how they feel. Like the loss is so great. But we have to understand that there is gonna be losses and we
mm-hmm.
can't lose ourselves
Yes.
inside of that.
You got to find
You know?
outlets, healthy outlets, and you
Yeah.
can't shut people out. You can't isolate yourself. You got to be willing to let people in and, share your experience with others because you don't know who your testimony could help. When Kim passed, I did have to call her husband, Don. And Don couldn't even drive himself up to South Carolina. He had to have Kim's two best friends come with him. And we had to meet, and my younger sister Stacy came too, with her two best friends, and we had to go to the morgue to, at the bottom of the hospital, right, to identify her body, right. And it's just, and then we didn't go back that same night, right, because we still had to. At the hospital, they had to decide whether or not they didn't want to do a forensic evaluation. Her husband didn't want it to be done because he's their spouse. We wanted it, but he didn't. So, like, it is what it is. And then also too, you know, with when we went back to the hotel, we went to a hotel, right, with Kim's best friends. It was really weird because I was crying that whole night, right? I couldn't go to sleep because I told myself, right? I was in tears. And it was almost like God allowed Kim to like come down, not in the physical form, but in the spiritual form, and touch
Hmm.
my leg and let me know, because she had did that same touch on my leg that morning before when she came to my bedroom at her house. She had touched my same leg and told me it was gonna be okay, Stephanie. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, they get to come back, and when you start reading and things like that about what we believe here on this side that's going on with them, some people say they're still here for a little while. You know what I'm saying? They're still roaming and moving around here with us until they get I guess the time to actually go over to the other side. So let me ask you one quick question, and I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap it up. But my question is going to be if you, well, I got two questions. So my first question is, how do you feel? Do you feel like that where do you feel like they are? Do you really feel like they're in heaven? Do you feel like they're just sitting, waiting to go to heaven? Do you feel like there is a heaven? Not that I want to get personal like that. I just want to ask you, what do you feel?
Yeah, I do. I do. I do feel like I feel like all three of well, my two siblings and my nephew, I do feel like they are in heaven. You know, they all had good traits about them, and they were very good people. Um, very loving people. And even Kim, she was like almost like a just would give you the clothes off her back, right? And Rachel too. I mean, she did a lot of stuff for me and my daughter when she was younger,
Because
and helping me, and we helped each other. And Cameron, I believe that he is in heaven because he was a good person. He genuinely was a good person, you know. And I do miss them a lot, and I try to cherish the moments that I do and keep their memory alive through my daughter and talking about them.
okay. And so then my final question to you, Stephanie, is, and I don't really know how to pose this question, but I'm gonna pose it as easy as I can for all three, for Cameron, for Rachel, and for Kim. If
Mhm.
you could tell each one of them one thing right now, what would you tell them? So that gives you three things to tell them.
Three things to tell them. You were
One
right.
each.
um, it has to be one word.
No.
Okay. But I would tell each one of them you were right because they made predictions about my life or over my daughter's life, and they was right about it. They was spot on. Like for Cameron and Rachel, they made predictions about Nia, and they were spot on. They also foresaw things, right? I think in some aspects, like they knew certain things would happen, and it did, right? In my life,
Hmm.
right? As well as Kim, she predicted certain things that would happen, and yeah. And it's crazy to think because, like I told you, I put grad school off when all that happened. I told the USC social work department what had happened. They were very willing to work with me. They allowed me to go from the 2-year master's program to the 12-month master's program so I could still graduate with my class on time. And I did. And I'm so grateful and thankful for them for acknowledging my grief and for allowing me to still have a place in that university, right? And the love and the
Hmm.
support, not only that I got from University of South Carolina, but the love and support that I got from North Carolina State University social work department. They poured out cards and flowers and different stuff that they sent during the funeral, and it was very overwhelming. you know?
Good people. And
Yeah,
you're a good person too, Steph. You're a good
yeah,
person too.
yeah.
So regardless to what life brings, just remember we all
Mm-hmm.
have to continue forward. We can't get stuck on what happens today because today is simply today. And if we are blessed, so we say, then maybe we'll have tomorrow. And I can't even say if we're blessed because some gonna have it and they blessed and some ain't gonna have it and they blessed too. So I'm gonna cut that part because that's not a good saying. But I do want us to just live life to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? Do what
Yeah,
you want to do. I see you traveling. I see you was just out in New York and you
yeah,
having a good time. And that's what it's all about. It's about enjoying the
Correct.
time. You know what I'm saying? The time that we're given if we're able to. And if we get to me and your age, hopefully we're able to. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I agree. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's always good to see you. I guess I'm gonna close out and I'm gonna say, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope Stephanie provided you guys with some great information on her loss and what happened to her. Things do be tragic, but at the end of the day, we have to continue to move forward and we have to continue to try to be the best that we can be. Thank you for tuning in to My Child 2 with Stephanie Dixon and Ratio K. You guys have an amazing day.